Hi, everybody, and hi, everybody out there in Zoom. Now I see even more people are here than I realized. Thank you for those of you who are in the room. Thank you to everybody who is out there in Zoom. I hope you will join us in person next year. All of the work that you heard Fernando and Theo and Kyle and Anna and Alan talk about, and all of the rest of the work that's going on down the hall, please come join us, those of you who are here, to see some more of it after this, happens because of the ALS community. It is all of them out there, all of you, who inspire us, who challenge us, who fund us, who cheer us on with the generosity of spirit that I don't believe any other disease community has. So thank you for that. Within this incredible community, there are a few people every year who really stand out. And those will this year be the 2021 ALS TDI Leadership Award winners. They are 8 people, some who are joining us virtually, some who are here to represent their loved one or themselves. And they are being honored by the namesakes that Fernando mentioned earlier, who were some of the pioneers in ALS research advocacy. We are, as Fernando said, building off of their shoulders of advocates. So we owe them a debt of gratitude. They are the foundation for our progress, and it is all of this year's award winners who have allowed us to build on that and move forward. The first award, I'm supposed to be pressing something. There we go. You'll see some of these people in this room, those of you who are here in person. For each of the awards, I'm going to read you the description of the person who the ALS community felt that this year fit and deserved this award the most. And then someone will likely join me up here at the podium to help present that award. That was me. This isn't me. This is Mac and Bailey Brown. They are the winners of the Fran Delaney Challenge and Respect Award. This award is presented to a member of the ALS community who has shown true leadership by engaging the community to advocate for and accelerate research. Through involvement in fundraising and awareness events, this person or people or brother and sister team in this case demonstrate a unique ability to organize and inspire others to help end ALS. They challenge those around them to join the fight against ALS and actively spread awareness of the ALS Therapy Development Institute's work and mission. I'd like to invite Terry Handler, where are you, to come up and present this award.
I brought a cheat sheet. Sometimes I divert. So I'm not going to today. I'm going to make sure that I've got it in hand. Mac and Bailey cannot be here today, and I'll tell you why. This story is about kids making a difference. Mac and Bailey Brown are siblings, as Karen said. And Mac was 12 when his friend's dad, was living with ALS. So Mac decided that he would fundraise and do the awesome lemonade stand. That was 10 years ago. Mac and his family, they live in Eden Prairie, but that was when he was 12. He's 22 now. He's a senior at Ole Miss, and he's a punter. So over the last 10 years, he does his awesome lemonade stand at home, but he's also brought it to the football games. And Bailey, his big sister, she lives in Chicago, and she's been behind the scenes supporting her little brother since he was 12. She graduated from Boston College, and even though she lives in Chicago, she attends Mac Brown's Ole Miss games, and that's where they are this weekend. They're playing tomorrow, and it's a family reunion because Mac is now a senior. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him in the NHL. Oh, that would be a really big surprise, but I think he's very talented. Oh boy, Carol just messed me up now. Okay, so they've made a tremendous impact in 10 years. They've raised over $150,000. Mac has been recognized by the National Quarterback Club, All-State Good Team Captain Awards, and I can go on forever, but we have a video from Mac to accept this award. Oh,
ALS TDI community, wow, what an honor. On behalf of my sister and I'd like to thank you for this amazing recognition. There with you in Boston today as my team and I play here at Ole Miss tomorrow, but this is incredible and we are humbled. 10 years ago, this all began as a simple one-time lemonade stand to help a friend's dad check an item off his bucket list. Now, I'm continually inspired by the growth we have seen in our expanded community of awareness and funds raised, and we are excited to keep pushing forward to do more. No one in my immediate family has been diagnosed with ALS, but our friends and ALS community have truly become family, which is what fuels my dedication to our ALS Awesome Lemonade Stand, throwing shade at ALS Challenge, and our efforts along the way. I hope to continue to inspire other young and old people to make a difference. ALS TDI, from my sister Bailey and I, thank you for your commitment to researching to find a cure. We will continue to do our part.
To uplift and inspire those around them. They believe in the power of positivity and remain committed to finding treatments for ALS. These individuals consistently serve as models of strength and courage and love in the ALS community. That's Pat Quinn and Big Pat right there. Pat Quinn Jr. Has won the Stephen Hayward Award previously, and this year it's his dad's turn. So Big Pat, I'll see you tomorrow, but this is for you. Pat Quinn Sr. has exemplified the pinnacle of love and courage since his son, Patrick Liam Quinn, also was diagnosed with ALS at the age of 30. From day one, he was Pat's biggest fan, and he pledged to be alongside his son throughout his journey, even moving back home from Florida to Yonkers to be with Pat every day, and he was. Early on, they launched Quinn for the Win to help support Pat and countless others facing ALS. Then came August of 2014. Pat Quinn founded the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge along with Pete Frates. Big Pat was there in the background, always in the background, did not want to take the limelight. He was there making it easy as possible for his son to march in parades and conduct countless television interviews and raise $300 million for ALS research across the globe. Big Pat shared his son with the world and gave us a national treasure. We lost Pat just a year ago. And in that time, Big Pat has kept the fight going. He spends his days collecting and delivering equipment for local people with ALS and offering help and advice to so many who need it, and sometimes that's even me. He runs countless events to be sure that the funds are there for pals in need and for the research at ALS TDI. He keeps his son's incredible spirit alive, despite the loss that no parent should ever have to bear. He is in his own right a national treasure. With gratitude for his friendship, inspiration, and willingness to stay in the game, it is my pleasure to present the Mary Lou Krasnick Courage and Love Award to the one and only Big Pat Quinn.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for presenting me with the prestigious Courage and Love Award. I am truly humbled. There are some people whom I wish to thank: Dr. Perrin, Carol Hamilton, Fernanda Vieira, and the numerous scientists and researchers who have made it their life's mission to find a cure for ALS. I am positive, as everyone here, when a cure is found, it will come from ALS TDI. I want to thank Pat's extended family, friends, and the Quinn for the Win team for their ongoing support to continue Patrick's mission to have a world without ALS. A special thank you to my amazing wife, Susan. Her support throughout Patrick's ALS journey was incredible. Thank you for being my rock. I love you. Last but certainly not least, thank you, Patrick Ryan Quinn, my son. You showed me what strength is as I watched you fight this ruthless disease daily with the courage few men I know have. Your advocacy efforts started with the Ice Bucket Challenge, changed the trajectory of ALS, and the whole ALS community thanks you. You have taught us to fight the good fight, and that is what I intend to do. Patrick's fight is over. We lost him 10 short months ago. However, ours is not. Until there is a cure, I will continue to support, advocate for, and be a friend and ear to any pal or cal that needs me as a friend. My resolve is stronger than ever. Pat, I hope you're as proud of me as I am and was of you. I miss and love you, Q. Rest easy. We'll take it from here. Please watch and listen to these last few moments of Patrick's video. The words are poignant, and I hope you leave here with them today. Thank you all again so much.
When I look in the mirror every day, I think, keep going and make a difference, because life is amazing.
Congratulations, Pat. Terry?
That was a tough one to follow. All right. Again, I got a cheat sheet. And again, this is the Mary Lou Krasnick Courage and Love and Optimism Award, the second recipient. And I'm so proud to know her for a number of years, and it's Katie Bauer. Katie Bauer is from Texas, but Katie Bauer, over 2 years ago, moved to Maine, and she said she loves it. But the reason I met Katie Bauer is because of this disease. Her soulmate was Charlie, and Charlie died October 12th, 2016, 5 years ago. Since then, Katie has shown such courage and grace to her daughter, by moving far away and by participating with TDI. She makes food for us, but this is not why we're giving her the recognition. October 12th, and yesterday was TDI Appreciation Day with a beautiful tortilla soup. But I want to use a quote that Katie wrote. Oh, I'm so sorry. You don't get to choose ALS. You don't get to run. You don't get to hide. You don't get to escape. Inspired by seeing how Katie has lived such challenges, I am just so honored to present her with the Mary Lou Krasnick Love and Courage Award. Come on up, Katie. Oh, on my cheat sheet, she participated in 33 different TDI events. If you want me to list them, come see me later.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Carol, for setting the stage for me losing my shit in the next few minutes. So that is a hard one to follow. I had the privilege of meeting Pat in person a couple of times, and he is indeed inspiring. Well, thank you. I was going to say that my first meeting with TDI was an event, the Tri-State Trek, and I ended up in the ER the first day, getting staples in my head. That's my first day. Last month, I did a Ragnar in New Jersey, and I almost got eaten by a bear. So I don't want to say I'm setting the bar high, but I only know of one other way to top like almost getting eaten by a bear. So our team leaders here, and we're currently recruiting for next year's Ragnar. So just saying, watch out for bears. That's all right. So I have a few words for you guys that require my glasses. I know that I'm being honored by being given this award, but I'm also very honored to receive it. I want to talk for a second, or a minute, maybe a couple, about the impact that TDI has had on the community, and particularly my own. And I know we're here today because of the science, and that's the mission, and that's the critical part of the mission. But TDI also has a side hustle, and that's building relationships. I owe so much to the existence of this organization and the people it's allowed me to meet, ones who become friends, ones who become family. So ALS hurts, you know. It takes your life and it just wrecks it beyond all recognition. So much so that you're not sure that you can ever put it back together. And it leaves you battle scarred and hurting in ways you don't know how to handle. And ALS is a taker, and it's relentless, and it grabs everything that you hold most dear.
Jr. with the Racing for ALS.
Just don't want a
Communication.
video to play while you're.
It takes touch, and it takes identity, and it steals it piece by painful piece. And in the end, it takes the person that you love the most, and it doesn't give them back. And I think that's why so many people in the ALS community are givers, because we know ALS to be the slow leak in the styrofoam cup. No matter how hard you work, the level just keeps going down. So we do what we can to keep pouring in the good stuff. And sometimes that's alcohol. So no one's cup ever completely goes dry. And I'm lucky that I found TDI, because you meet us where we're at, and you join us in our pain. You absorb so much of the grief that we shed in our quest to find reason and to find purpose, and to make what we felt, what we feel, and what we went through mean something. And I showed up pretty broken. I never thought I would be the kind of person who survived on so little sleep, and the kind of person who would feel powerless and helpless. I never thought I would be the kind of person who would feel so completely lost and cut adrift from everything I thought I ever knew. TDI gave me a way to channel my grief, something to work toward, that took all those feelings of powerlessness and failure and weakness and helplessness, and it turned them into purpose and reason. My involvement with TDI helped me discover that there was more life out there to be lived. And it's given me the opportunity to do hard things, not because I have to, but because I choose to. And that's allowed me to redefine myself in a way that is meaningful and that gives me hope for who I'm still becoming. Someone who actually chooses to survive on so little sleep on a Ragnar weekend. I was gifted with encouragement and support that's lifted me up and inspired me to expand my horizons and reevaluate my capabilities. You've been generous with your time, with your compassion and your friendship and your ears. Through TDI, I've found mentors and confidants, family, and how many people could say that they'd entrust their child to travel over 3 states in 3 days in a company's care and trust, and trust that she would be safe and sound at the end of each day. I don't know where we would be today if it had not been for the Tri-State Trek, and I'm guessing it wouldn't be Maine. You've had a tremendous impact on our lives, and you are important, and you changed our lives for the better. And there's solace in knowing that we've been able to find our place and to build a life and a future. And that future shines a little brighter knowing that ALS TDI is on the clock, and that they're working so very hard to end ALS. So thank you for this, but I owe you all a debt of gratitude that I'll never be able to repay. So I'll keep paying it forward, trusting that one day your work here will be done and everyone out there living with ALS will get to keep doing just that, living. So thank you.
Ooh. Okay, Glynis, you gonna snap me out of this? I can't even look at you to say thank you, Katie, so I'm just gonna say it while looking into the computer because I can't even look right now. The next award is the Stephen Milne Adventurous Spirit Award. It is presented to a member of the ALS community who strives to find new and innovative ways to fundraise, advocate, and raise awareness for ALS research. This is so good. The recipient of this award constantly explores bold new approaches to engage others in the fight to end ALS. They are driven by a commitment to excellence in ALS advocacy as they inspire their community to support the mission of ALS TDI. I'd like to welcome Glynis Murray up to present this award to Teresa Thurtle.
Well, it would not be Glynis Fashion without Glynis Fashion. I am honored to be able to present this award to Teresa. I was fortunate enough to meet Teresa by accident, actually. I had mentioned on Facebook that I was going to be going to Gleason Gras one year, and she, who I've really never met, maybe interacted on Facebook once or twice, said, "Oh, great, I'm coming with you." Oh, okay. And we met for the first time at the airport, and we had the greatest time ever. So I want to thank you for that. Teresa has one heck of an adventurous spirit and inspires an entire ALS community. Teresa has traveled the globe, including all 7 continents, and spreading awareness every time she goes somewhere. Teresa spends whatever spare time she has jumping into programs like Ragnar and the Tri-State Trek. Even with little time to actually train, she jumps in and does 2 Ragnars back to back in 2 weeks for TDI. And almost gets eaten by a bear apparently as well. Teresa comes from a familial ALS family, having lost her father and her grandmother to this disease. Beyond any of her physical adventurous efforts to help fund research, she also is the founder of Bottoms Up to ALS and is a Young Faces ambassador. She's helped bring in tons of new breweries, and we cannot thank her enough. So Miss Teresa, if you can come on up.
it's hard to go after all that. So it really is downhill from here. You know, as many of you already know, I first found out about ALS 30 years ago when my grandmother was diagnosed with ALS. And, you know, and back then they told my mom that it was not hereditary, absolutely not. And then I believe it was 1993 that they found the first ALS gene, but my family hadn't. And then fast forward to 2011, and my father was properly diagnosed with ALS. And truth be told, I was actually deployed, going through things at that time, and so I wasn't there for much of those last few months in time. But it was quick, and we all know what ALS does. You know, I don't need to hide it. That's why we're all here, right? So when he passed, I came back from deployments and stuff. I got into it, and it was there that I found out that also military members were twice as likely to develop ALS. So then it was like, oh shit, now I got to do this for my family. I got to do this for my military family, and I was living in DC at the time, so had to, you know, get up on Capitol Hill and start researching. And then I got introduced to TDI, where they became my third family. And the ALS community, it just became a family that sometimes I don't know if they chose me or I chose them, but you guys are often stuck with me because I love you all. It's just, it's a great community to be a part of. I'm quite embarrassed to get this award because, I mean, I've been doing this, God, almost 10 years now. And you know, I'm not going to stop until we have treatments, cures. I think one time I used the analogy, I'm a huge baseball fan, go Dodgers. And, you know, if we need to hit a single, and we'll keep hitting that ball until we get home runs. And that's what TDI is going to do, is they're going to bring the ball home. So, but, you know, with this, I appreciate that you all live vicariously through my Facebooks and whatnot. And I really do. Almost every chance I get, I talk about ALS, and I'm so passionate about it. And in those conversations, be it in the US or overseas or wherever I am, people are like, oh yeah, I know somebody with MS, as they call it in Europe, or I know someone with ALS. And it's like, orphan disease, my ass. That's not, there's just no way. So, but through this, I've met so many amazing people. If I tried to thank anybody, I would miss 1,000 people. So I don't. If I start, I'll never stop. So I want to thank everybody for this. Thank you, everyone who supports, be it donating, coming to events. Because again, with TDI, that's what turned me on to them too. Is it started out with, I mean, spaghetti fundraisers. And now we're doing big galas and cornhole tournaments and scavenger hunts and different things. So, you know, whether it's $1 or $1 million, it all helps. So until we end ALS, I'm here for it. So thank you very much.
For our final award, Ben Haywood, co-founder of what was then ALS TDF and is now the ALS Therapy Development Institute, is going to join us to present the awards in honor and memory of his brother, Stephen. Thanks.
Whew. Well, I'm gonna have a hard time getting through this, especially after those last few amazing recipients and award winners. I love seeing Maya's kids here. It reminds me of the early days of TDI. And my brother's son and Zoe, my brother's son Alex, and Jamie's daughter Zoe, who used to run around the lab. So I love seeing that energy in this space, in this new lab. So I'm honored to present the Stephen Hayward Award for 2021. We lost Stephen about 15 years ago, actually 15 years ago this time of year. And November has always been one of my favorite months. It's my birthday. I'm actually turning 50 on Sunday. and actually has my favorite holiday, Thanksgiving, when we lost Stephen, often spent with my large extended family and marked by reflection. It's always been a little bit sweet, as I'm truly thankful for all I have, and particularly my family, but I miss Stephen terribly. Luckily, we also mark this time of year with the gala, which unfortunately we weren't able to do, but everyone donate, please, because we need the fund, and hopefully next year. And this incredible symposium, which I have always, enjoyed coming to and finding out about the amazing work. And I'm just reminded of the amazing good that was born from Stephen's illnesses. And I think the last few recipients also spoke to the incredible network and community, which is something I believe in deeply. So the Stephen Haywood Patients Today Award is presented to the person with ALS who has been an exemplary community advocate for ALS research and awareness. They are knowledgeable of current research, willing to inform the community about research trends and advancements, and eager to serve as an educator for those unfamiliar with ALS. They challenge ALS researchers to remain firmly planted within the ALS community and focus on people with ALS today, in hopes of accelerating treatments and cures as quickly as possible. This person is a role model for people with ALS, encouraging them to find strength and determination to fight this disease through research each and every day. This year, I'm honored to present the award to 3 people. The first up is Dr. Rahul Desikan, who sadly we lost to ALS in 2019 and is receiving the award posthumously. This week, I spoke with Maya, Rahul's wife, who's here from San Francisco with their 2 kids. And I actually came to the conclusion that he's sounds a little bit like a combination of Stephen and my other brother, Jamie, who founded TDI. Like Jamie, Rahul threw himself into the research with a passion and tenacity rarely matched in this world. Ironically, he had just begun to turn his research focus to ALS when he was diagnosed. His contributions to knowledge of this disease, which are just too numerous to even enumerate today, will have significant impact on our chance of understanding and ultimately treating ALS. He also invested heavily in the next generation of researchers and used his illness to inspire others to work on this terrible disease. As an engineer, I love a quote that Maya gave us from him, which is just, it shows how much of a scientist he was. You know, I am my own petri dish, my own model system to test my hypothesis. I just love that, that's near and dear. But also, like Stephen, Rahul refused to treat this disease like a death sentence. He lived his life and made raising his boys and his kids, central to his life. We are lucky to have them here today. Again, I love the energy. And I heard this amazing quote from him from a piece from GMA, which really reminded me of Stephen and his a trip that we had to Paris. This is a quote from Rahul. I imagine the monsoon in India where I grew up, the New England fall, spring in Paris, and summer in Central Park. I live them, see them, and hear them. That Stephen also had this eternal optimism about travel and that the world could come to him through technology. And I believe that Rahul truly lived with that optimism that this disease will one day be conquered. So from his nomination, Maya wrote, Rahul set the high bar with a record of scientific accomplishments and his skill in bringing science and advocacy to spur innovation in ALS research and policy. There are many words that have been used to describe him, including genius, brilliant, funny, and hero. And like all of the past recipients of this award, my brother Stephen would have been inspired by and enjoyed the company of Rahul. So I'd like to welcome up his wife, Maya, an incredible physician and researcher in her own right, to accept the award on behalf of Rahul.
Thanks so much, everyone. I'm going to bring this down. So it really is a great honor for me to be here with my family. My 2 sons are here, Rabi and Amar. You can raise your hands. Rahul's mother, Veda, is right there. And Rahul's best friend, Craig, who helped us take care of him, is also right here. And watching on Zoom is Rahul's sister Vasudha, his dad, my parents, and the many, many countless family members and friends who really supported us when Rahul got sick and supported him every day to do what he did. So it really is a great honor for me to be here with my family to accept the Stephen Haywood Patient Today Award on behalf of Rahul. In many ways, Rahul and Stephen, from what I've read of him, embodied so many of the same qualities despite being from different cultures and different fields. They both were diagnosed with ALS when they were very young, Stephen much younger, in his late 20s, and Rahul in his late 30s. They both were passionate about their fields. Stephen, a creator, builder, and architect, and Rahul, a creator and architect in his own field of neuroscience in Alzheimer's and ALS research. They both gave themselves fully to advancing ALS research and care by trying out new ways to communicate, by trying out experimental treatments for ALS, including stem cells. It's interesting because one of the presentations we were able to see today from the Google team were the same team that worked with Rahul when he was first diagnosed. So it felt like coming full circle actually when we walked in. They both were involved and devoted parents of young children while living with ALS. We had our second baby, Amar, who's now 5, 2 weeks before Rahul experienced his first symptoms. And Amar knows Rahul when his entire span of life was with him living with ALS, and he still has a very close connection and a very close bond, just as our other son Rabi does. They both normalized the experience of living with ALS and gave voice to the many people who are living with ALS despite the sometimes insurmountable challenges that they faced every day. There are many people deserving of this award, and I hear about them and meet them very routinely in all the ALS work that I do and I hear about. And I'm so grateful for ALS TDI for recognizing Rahul today for all that he did scientifically and through his advocacy for pushing the boundaries in our thinking about ALS as an incurable disease to one that will have a cure in our very imminent future. Thank you so much, and congratulations to all the winners today. I'm really impressed and inspired by all of you and what you do every day for ALS. Thanks so much.
Love it. Love it. So the second and third recipient of the Stephen Haywood Award are brothers, David and Scott Lloyd. And I got the chance to talk to David earlier this week, and I feel like these guys have like a celestial connection to my life. So first off, brothers, sacred relationship in my life. They're my best friends. Stephen was my best friend. Jamie's my best friend. So huge there. They were born and raised in North Carolina, a state near and dear to my heart, as we do family reunions every year. And I got married on the Outer Banks. And they too have, like us, have stayed close to their family in North Carolina. They have a huge love of NASCAR and all things cars. And my dad, Dave didn't know that. I don't know if Scott heard this, but my dad's actually the world leading expert on internal combustion engines. So, and he's worked with every major car company and many of the racing teams. Although technically I would not call us car guys. And I don't think anyone would, although my dad might not like that. Scott came up here in their super amazing race car, which I tried to see in the parking lot. You're gonna have to take me there afterwards, but I did not find it. I failed, but I hear it's out there and looks incredible. It's a race car they're using for fundraising. And it really sort of obviously just combines their passion for cars with their advocacy for ALS. Actually, David sort of said, I feel like this disease is horrible, but I'm like on a 3-year Make-A-Wish ride with this thing. Which I love. So David, who is watching remotely, hi, and Scott's here is accepting the award. David said of Scott that he sort of inherited the P.T. Barnum gene of the family. They actually come from a long line of entrepreneurs, which me and my brother both consider ourselves, and Stephen was his own boss as a builder. Their grandfather was actually the founder of the original Putt Putt brand and syndicate made it go worldwide and really put miniature golf on the map. And then Scott took over another family business from his father, and David joined them as well. I didn't get a chance to go into working with family and the bad idea that is, but I'm sure we can share that over some cocktails later with those war stories. Lastly, David and I bonded a little bit on, he was working on video game technology when I was on a tangent in my life in Los Angeles, working in the feature film business. But at that time when Stephen was sick, video games was a huge part of how we stayed connected. And we really, huge, I'm a video game nerd. Stephen and I played a lot of, and Jamie and actually some of the TDI staff played a lot of Diablo 2 back in that day. So, I love their fundraising panache. I look forward to watching their race car create greater and greater awareness for this terrible disease and fundraise for this amazing institution that we're all supporting here today. And, as I said to David, and it's sort of alluded to with some of the last few speeches, this is a terrible club to belong to. Like, it really is truly not a club one wants to get into, but the people are truly inspiring. And David and Scott certainly inspire me. So please welcome Scott to accept this award on behalf of himself and his brother.
Hello, I'm David Lloyd Jr. with the Racing for ALS. Though I'm unable to attend today's Leadership Summit in person, I felt it important to directly express my profound, heartfelt appreciation to Ben, the Haywood family, and ALS TDI for the honor of receiving the Stephen Haywood Patients Today Award. What an extraordinary compliment to be held in any sort of association with Stephen, James, John, and Ben. As I reflected on the parallels that ALS TDI may have drawn between the Haywood brothers and Scott and I to deem us worthy of this honor, the notion of proactive crisis response came to mind. The Haywood family responded to their ALS crisis by founding the world's first nonprofit biomedical research facility in search of a cure for ALS that still gives us all hope and progress in the fight 20 plus years later. Scott and I initially responded to our ALS crisis in a manner more aptly termed proactive recreational response, as we prioritize bucket list living and time together as brothers. But Racing for ALS soon sprouted from those recreational endeavors, thanks in large part to Scott's vision and leadership. I'm more or less the fuzzy, lovable mascot with exceptionally bad luck. In truth, our proactive crisis response may have been short-lived, if not for the unexpected support and positive energy we received from our new fast friends in the race community, the ones we now call our valued Racing for ALS teammates. When it came time to bring our primary funding mechanism to life in the form of Dave's race, ALS TDI harkened back to their proactive crisis response DNA, strapped in and hit the track with us. I believe that both of our organizations succeed for three reasons. First, a large percentage of contributions pass directly through to finding a viable solution to one of mankind's most vexing medical puzzles. Second, our organizations both strive to honor and at some level immortalize the names and faces of those souls lost to ALS. Our Hendrick Track Attack Memorial Deck Lid serves that purpose, as does ALS TDI's Tri-State Trek Memorial Mile Markers and awards like those being given today. Lastly, just as Racing for ALS strives to help ALS TDI fulfill its mission and vision through fundraising, ALS TDI reciprocates by proactively providing the financial, insurance, registration, and communication tools we need to materialize our vision. ALS TDI never discouraged or dissuaded us. They enthusiastically joined our team as we sought to support theirs. So, just as you thank us here today with this honor, we congratulate you at ALS TDI for your role in our success. Now, here's the real brains and brawn behind Racing for ALS, my kid brother, Scott Lloyd.
Thank you, and very, very happy to be here today. In October of 17, my brother was diagnosed with ALS, as was one of my best family friends in the same week. And so they talk about how rare this disease is and how rare reverb is. And in this particular case, for us, it has not been, and it definitely set us on a trek. But I proclaim, and I always do, and I know sometimes this is entering in a scientific community, that my brother's going to be healed. And I can't imagine living in a world where I wouldn't believe that. And I believe that, and I tell you that I pray every day for everything that every scientist and every person here is doing, and everybody in this community, and the pain that you're feeling and the things that you're going through, that we're going through as well. But we firmly do believe it because we think it's important. And firmly because, again, I believe that there's a blessing on what ALS TDI is doing. And I've seen that how this has played out through the entirety of Racing for ALS, and all the stories that I could tell you. I could literally sit here for hours and tell you the stories of the connections and just, all of the things that have happened that are just amazing. But we have two people here today that I wanted to highlight because it just kind of brings it all together for me a little bit. And I promise this will all come together at the end. We have Andrew and Andrew here, makes it easy. But Andrew Biesemeyer owns Southern Integrity Auto, and he does car transport. And why that's important is we had some cars we needed transported. And it was right when we had just gotten started, and we were trying to get my brother's car out, and I'm trying to get our car out to get some work done. And I sent him an email and said, hey, we need some help. Here's our mission, here's what we're doing. And ultimately, he came back and it's like, I'm kind of got chills here, man. I just lost my Aunt Chris last month to ALS. And that's just one. Just one of like 100 examples that I can sit there and go through. And then Andrew Trammell owns Carolina Home Medical. For those who saw the car earlier, and Ben, I will get you out to the car, I promise. It's in the trailer outside. It's on the side of our car. We met him at a race. We had met literally one time, and my brother keeps talking about how this is about me. Please understand, it's not. It's about my brother, and it's about how my brother talks to people. It's about how my brother engages people. And when he could walk, he would walk over, and now he'll burn up a set of tires and a battery every event we have, because he goes to every pit stall and talks to every person, and he is just, dogged to talk to everybody and make sure everybody has a good time. But he went over and had met Andrew, was talking to Andrew, and just through that little interaction that we had, he was interested in what we were doing, and he found out it was 4 weeks later for our first day's race. It was our big event. We were so excited. 2 of our corporate sponsors backed out the week of the race. And he found out about it, was home on vacation, and spent the entire week calling people and raised $7,000 by himself for 2 people he had met one time at a track. And that's the kind of spirit, and that's what's kind of cool, is hearing everybody else's stories, because everybody's experiencing that, and that's what's so amazing. And from there, we've been able to raise $250,000. We've been able to send out $31,000 in grants to ALS patients in need as trying to buy wheelchairs or fix their homes or do whatever it is that we need to do. We've sent shirts and stickers and things, to Germany, to 25 states, with people all over the country, posting on social media. This year, we actually swept the SCCA time trials. We had 6 Racing for ALS drivers. We all finished first or second throughout the entire event. That same weekend, one of our drivers took the national championship for NASA racing. If you're familiar with NASA, all big deals. All of this, though, comes back to one moment in time. And so when my brother says thank you to ALS TDI, and thank you for your spirit, and thank you for how you reach out to people, this is what he was talking about. Is when we first started fundraising, we didn't know about ALS TDI originally. And it was Corey Burrell, who's on our trunk, along with several other people, Quinn, your brother, others that are on our trunk. He called my brother and said, you're in the wrong place. You need to be looking at ALS TDI. And it was interesting because that other place where we were, we had gone to them and said, hey, we've got this great idea. We want to go race cars and we're going to raise money. And they're like, nah, we're not feeling it. Just, do our walk, do our whatever, and, we're not interested. And when we called ALS TDI, it was Aaron that we talked to, and now we work with Glennis and Chelsea and all the folks that have just been so amazing to us, and Terry, and I don't want to forget anybody because everybody's done so much. And we said, hey, we want to start a racing program, and we were kind of waiting for the no, and they're like, what do you need? And I'm like, stickers. And so they sent this. This is my brother's helmet. This is his first helmet from when he could still drive. And better driver than me. I'm going to proclaim it so he'll know for everybody here, he's a better driver than I ever was. Until it took him off the track in 2019 because he would lose his breath in the corners and he was going to black out. And so we had to tell him he couldn't race anymore, and that day sucked. But this right here is for us, where it started. And it was this one sticker that you produced and sent to us that allowed everybody to come up and go, what's ALS? What's that all about? And that's what led to everything else, and the trailers and the cars and everything else that we do, because you said yes. And you followed up and you made it happen. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You're giving us a award, but we feel like we should be giving one to you. We appreciate the work that you do every day, and we continue to pray for all that you're doing. Thank you. Thank you to the Racing for ALS team, our two representatives here. There's a lot more. We are very, very grateful for everyone and all that you're doing. Thank you.
Is there a final slide no? Okay. Holy cow. Time to exhale a little bit. I think everybody in this room has a very direct connection to this disease. If there is anyone on this Zoom who is privileged enough to be a part of today's festivities and presentations and does not have a direct connection to ALS, I don't want you to have one, but I want you to join this team, right? Thank you to the scientists and to Google for the incredible presentations and the incredibly good science. Thank you and congratulations to the award winners for creating legacies and for hastening the future of ALS when it's a treatable illness. You all have a stake in that. We're going to cut the video shortly. If there are questions that you had that were unanswered, hit me up. Hit up the whole ALS TDI team. We will get back to you if we have record of unanswered questions. We will answer them. Reach out to us. Stay informed. That's what we're here for. Until there's a treatment coming out of this lab or any, let us help you understand what's out there. Give us a call, email us, text us, smoke signals, whatever you want. This is your lab. We want you to know as much about it as you possibly can. Thank you to everybody who made the last year of progress in ALS possible. And good night. Well, I didn't know if I could start talking if the Zoom people were gone yet. Are the Zoom people gone? Well, Zoom.